Hey, welcome back to another great week in moving to Georgia. I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, and we go live every single Wednesday. I'm coming to you with the latest and greatest on what's happening in the North Metro Atlanta area and what is happening with the real estate market. And I'm excited to be here with you tonight. We are going to dive into kind of like some local headlines and what is going on here locally in the Metro Atlanta area. If you're considering making a move here, some things that might impact you or might not. But I would love to know where you're watching from. If you're joining us, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'd love for you to know where you're tuning in from. So let me know that. But the headline for today's live stream is all about canceled elections. And so I came across this when I was doing some research to bring you the latest and greatest on what is happening here in the Metro Atlanta area. And I am going to share this news article with you. So let me get this going for you. So in Alpharetta, and so Alpharetta is a town in North Fulton County. And so Fulton County is the biggest county in Georgia. And here on the city's website, it says Alpharetta cancels 2023 municipal elections. So your municipal elections are your local elections that you have. And the article goes on to say that with the qualifying period for Alpharetta's municipal elections having passed and only a single candidate having qualified in each of the races that were to be held in 2023, and during the general election, the city has canceled the municipal elections. And so basically they're saying that by canceling the elections, because the current people that hold the seat, they don't have anyone running against them, so they automatically would win. By taking those names off the ballots and not having to go through that, the city is going to save $380,000 that can be redirected to other projects. So it's a win for saving some money in the city and putting that into other initiatives that are going to benefit the citizens of Alpharetta. But I think it's kind of shocking to me that you would have seats in today's age that are not being opposed. So the seats that were up for re-election was the Alpharetta mayor, that's held by Jim Gilvin, and the incumbent city council members, John Hypes and Dan Markle. So they drew no opposition, and therefore they automatically get their seat. And then you also have another council member who essentially did not seek re-election, and only a single candidate came forward. So hello, they're automatically into that city council seat. So that is kind of wild to me that they would not have any opposing members. So I'm kind of curious as to what you think about that and how that kind of lines up. Now, Alpharetta is a booming area, and so you would think that there would be at least some sort of opposition or different ideas or opinions that someone would want to bring to the table over there. Carl's watching us from New Jersey. Thank you. And we've got Citizen PM from Salt Lake City joining us again. Thanks for tuning in. It definitely makes it really nice to connect with y'all every single week and kind of share what is going on. So I'm curious, if you're watching, have you ever, where you're at, have you ever had just kind of city elections just canceled because there's no opposition? Kind of wild and crazy. Another thing that we get asked often whenever we get to connect with great folks like you who are thinking about making a move here to Georgia, oftentimes we get questions of like, do I need a car? Or I want to be close to public transportation. And so one thing you have to know is that in the inner perimeter of Atlanta, we have the public transportation system of MARTA. And outside the perimeter of Atlanta, which is pretty much the North Metro Atlanta suburbs, a lot of the towns that I talk about here on the channel, there is hardly any public transportation whatsoever to speak of. But there is public transportation in Gwinnett County, and they have their own bus system. And we don't talk about it a whole lot because it's not that robust of a public transportation system. But they did recently announce some changes that they are proposing over the next 10 years that's going to expand the public transportation in Gwinnett County. So if you're someone that needs public transportation, or you have a family member that needs public transportation, there's some areas that you might strongly want to consider moving to so that you can take advantage of those. Now, I definitely realize and understand that one, you kind of are forced to have to have a car here, and it's a privilege, right? It's a privilege to be able to have a car and not have to think twice about that and not really have to rely on public transportation. But let me share this article for you that talks about the public transportation in Gwinnett County. And then we have some maps, and I'm going to kind of show you where the current public transportation is as well. Oh, let's see here. Here we go. All right. The public transportation in Gwinnett County. So here is from the Gwinnett Daily Post. This is the local newspaper here in Gwinnett County. They're eventually going to add expanded routes that will service and take you to and from the airport. Now, this is huge because right now, if you wanted public transportation to the airport in Gwinnett County, you would have to, I guess you could, ride a bus to a MARTA station, get on MARTA, and take that all the way down into the airport. That is an option that you do have. And so MARTA is a train system, and Gwinnett County is strictly a bus system. So in here it says that they had originally kind of talked about revamping the public transportation system in 2019 and 2020. They brought that to public vote. People nixed those plans. And so now they're kind of going back to the drawing board. And what they have come up with is something that they feel like can help all the citizens around the county get into public transportation. And so what they're calling for is 5 modes of service. And they are, does that text message show up for y'all whenever it dings? I'm on my Mac computer, and I just realized that, but I don't think y'all can see that, right? No? Can you see that? I think that would just showed up on my end. That would be kind of bad, right? Not that anyone's texting me anything inappropriate, but a lot of work stuff going on behind the scenes. Okay, let's get back to that screen. All right, so they are calling for 5 modes of transportations. So a shared ride kind of system, and they're calling this micro transit service. And they already have this in Lawrenceville, and they have this in areas of Snellville. And it's kind of cool because you can just use an app and you can schedule a ride, and a smaller kind of bus will come and pick you up. And so it's kind of like a ride on demand, and that's a really cool thing. They've got the county ride, which is the regular bus ride, quick ride, and rapid ride. I don't really quite understand what the difference is between a quick ride and a rapid ride, but it looks like dedicated kind of bus lanes and frequent services. Obviously, there's going to be airport rides with limited service to Hartsfield Jackson, but their goal is to kind of ease this up. And so some new local routes include service going through Lawrenceville from Western Gwinnett communities in Decula. So it's pronounced Decula. A lot of people call in and pronounce it Dacula because that's phonetically how it looks, but it's pronounced Decula. And so it's really looking to kind of connect all areas of Gwinnett County. It goes on to kind of eventually say where they're eventually hoping to expand to. But one thing that was kind of disappointing, and I guess things take time with the government, right? But it was saying that some of these, it was going to take until 2033. So a whole 10 years before some of these areas get some of this. Let's see. Let me show you where the current bus systems are right now. I think that would be helpful. So that you kind of know, like, if you need a public transportation system, where would you need to live right now? And where is that? Okay. Nope. Sorry. All right. Here we go. Got it. All right. This is the current bus map system for Gwinnett County, and these are all different bus routes. But you can kind of see this shows you can get to and from a lot of places in Gwinnett County on a bus. You might have to take multiple buses. It's not going to be the most efficient way to get around town. But if you are without a car, or at least has some options for how to get to around the county. And so this will take you down into, what am I trying to say? into MARTA. Yes, thank you. All right, so that is that. So if you're just joining us on the live stream, welcome. I would love to know where you're joining us from. Of course, if you have any questions about the real estate market, please go ahead and let me know. My job here is to help answer all those questions for you and also help you figure out the housing market. If you're thinking about making a move, buying, selling, anything that you may have a question on, go ahead and let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts and questions and what you're thinking about doing as we're spending some time together on this lovely Wednesday. So that is the latest in Gwinnett County for public transportation. Do you feel like most clients that we help move here, they're not really moving here because they need public transportation? Every now and then it comes up in conversations. I think more so recently, we've been getting clients that say they want to live somewhere that's walkable and that they want to be able to walk to stores or walk to restaurants. And also that's something that's becoming a little bit more, there's areas that are developing that are kind of giving you that, but it is still a rare thing. And I've kind of put that in the category of public transportation. It's out there, it exists, and you can find pockets of it, but it's really hard to kind of find. And there's only limited amounts of it. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, let's take a look at, I thought this was interesting. There is a new mixed use development coming. And I thought it was really interesting, kind of like some of the planning stuff that's going on with this right now. So I'm going to pull up that information for you to share with you. Going to pull it up. Here we go. So this mixed use development center is happening on the very busy road in Cumming called Pilgrim Mill and Holt's Claw Road. And I'll pull up a map and show you kind of where that is right now. But this development is calling for plans for a 300 apartments is going to come here. They're also going to include commercial office space, a multi-purpose trail, and a dog park on 57 acres. And so that's on Pilgrim Mill and Holt's Claw Road. This is a map that doesn't really tell you anything if you're not exactly from here. Let me switch over and show you where that is on a map. So Holt's Claw and Pilgrim Mill, this is this area right here on the map. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Let's see here. Let's just say essentially kind of like where that Hall and Hound Brewing Company is. Sounds like a great place to be right now. So here we have that red dot. This is where the area, what they're talking about, kind of Cumming. You have that. And then south of Cumming, you have Alpharetta, which is where they just canceled those elections. So right up here is the mixed use development center that they're planning for. And this has been met with a lot of local opposition, and it kind of got county commissioner approval last year at the behest of all the residents that showed up to kind of push back against this. And the reason is, so this is the Interstate Georgia 400. And so just off of Georgia 400 is Pilgrim Mill. Well, this road is really busy. And the reason it's really busy is it's the only way in and it's the only way out for all of these people that live kind of down here in this Lake Lanier kind of like peninsula area. So it is the easiest way to get on and off Georgia 400 and to get to all the grocery stores and everything that you would need. You have to go through this road or up on Holt's Claw. And so you have Bald Ridge Creek Campground, you have Bald Ridge Marina, which is down here as well. And so there's lots of houses, lots of boat traffic, lots of people going to the lake on the weekend. And a lot of people are saying like, hey, you know, once you add 300 apartment complexes right here, this area already kind of gets iffy with traffic, and now there's going to be a lot more. So that's been approved. They're in the process of building it, and the developer right now wanted to build, the requirement was that they had to build a side road to kind of help alleviate some of that congestion, and the builder wanted to narrow the road to help more with their development, and the commissioner said, no, you can't narrow the road. You're going to have to keep it the same. So that is the latest development on what is going on there. in that mixed use development that's going to have apartment complexes, that dog park, and some commercial space there as well. So if you have any questions about making a move, let me know in the comments and we'll make sure to answer those. Cumming is a very, very popular location. We recently just filmed a video and shocked to find or to learn, I feel this all the time. So, whenever you're looking at the data, it just reemphasizes and reminds you, but the average sales price right now in Cumming is over $600,000. And that's a significant amount of money for the area. And it just kind of speaks to the popularity of Cumming and how up and coming it is. There's a lot of great development happening there. As you can see, it's growing. There's been a lot of great outdoor shopping areas. You've got Cumming City Center, and you have the collection at Forsyth. There's a brand new hotel that's being built there as well. So there's just a lot going on, and a lot of people want to be in Cumming, and there's a lot of opportunity for great new construction homes there as well. And that's kind of driven up the price. Another thing that makes it really great is school systems there. Forsyth County schools are really good, and you also have pretty low property taxes compared to the surrounding counties. So those are all things that kind of contribute to the popularity of Cumming and why we have so many people moving there. Sharonda is watching from New Jersey. Thanks for joining us tonight, Sharonda. I'm happy to have you here. If you'll have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, concerns, insight, input that you want to say, let me know. Someone watched the last live stream and left the comment on the video. We were kind of like digging into the average sales price and how things are still kind of moving pretty quickly on the market. And he said, hey, I know that you've been looking into this data. Have you considered looking at homes kind of like $800,000 and above? And can you speak on that segment of the market is really slowing down? And I will say, he brought up a good point. And I'm sorry, I don't remember your name off the top of my head. I'll have to go back and look. But you bring up a good point. Yes. So the reason that you're kind of seeing these headlines, across the industry saying that home prices have fallen and home prices have slowed down, or home sales have slowed down rather, is because you have less homes available for sale right now. So therefore less sales. And the home sales that are moving pretty quickly are those homes that are priced well, that a lot of buyers can afford right now. And I use that kind of term loosely. We have increased interest payments or increased interest, which leads to increased payments. And therefore, people's affordability, what they could afford last year based on interest rates and what they can afford this year based on interest rates are drastically different. So therefore, those lower priced homes are going to move a lot faster because there's more segment of the population that is the buyer pool out there right now that can afford that house. Whereas we have less buyers that can afford the $800,000 plus inventory. So, but I will say that across all levels of prices of homes, if you price your home well, it's staged well, and it's move-in ready, it's going to sell right now like hotcakes. If you are putting a home on the market that needs a lot of work, that needs a lot of painting, this is going to affect your ability to sell. I think this really showed up for a recent client that we were helping. So we had some clients, we needed to buy a house. They are under contract on their home in Denver, and now they're able to easily make a contingency offer on a home here. But we're looking and coming. And I reached out to the agent for this home that had just hit the market. And from the pictures, the house looked really good. And it looked like it was going to be a perfect fit for the clients. And so I called the agent because I wanted to find out a little bit more about the seller's motivation. And in the private notes, the agent had said that the sellers prefer to have a 30-day temporary occupancy, meaning that the sellers wanted to sell the house, close on it, and then stay for another 30 days. Now, in a competitive offer situation, a seller can kind of dictate that. And when you have a lot of people that want your house, there's going to be a buyer out there that's going to say, yeah, that I can do that. living with my parents, or we have temporary housing for the next 3 months and we're able to fit within that time frame. So you're going to have buyers that can do that. So that led me to believe that, okay, this agent's likely expecting multiple offers. There's not a whole lot of inventory on the market. So I called her and kind of said, hey, what's your game plan? What's the showing activity been like? How many showings have you had? And trying to learn more about it. The sellers were flexible on that 30-day temporary occupancy because that was not going to work for my buyers. And she said, well, they've had lots of activity, lots of showings. They are anticipating that there will be multiple offers. They'll call for highest and best at the end of the weekend. But if we wanted to come in and see it, she would talk to her sellers to see if they'd be flexible on that temporary occupancy, but she would get back to me and let me know. But likely it was going to be a highest and best situation. So we went ahead and scheduled the tour for the next day for my clients. Now they're still in Denver. So we really specialize and excel in doing some really great virtual tours for you. If your buying situation has a need for you to have a virtual tour. And immediately walking into that house, we just knew that this house does not look as good as it does in the pictures. So there was evidence of dogs. You could smell dogs in the house. The baseboards were scratched up. Just things weren't in the best condition. On the surface and on the photos, everything looked pretty, but in person, it told a completely different story. And so after I left that, doing the virtual tour for the client, sending it to them, giving them my feedback saying, hey, I don't think this is the one, you're not going to like it. The agent called and she's like, hey, so what did your clients think? And I was like, this was not for us. And it was funny because I could tell based on how she was asking her questions that she has been getting a lot of the same feedback from agents that buyers aren't really feeling this house because there's still a substantial amount of work that needs to get done in order to sell this house. So the point of the story is to tell you that when a home is priced well, photographs well, and it's in a matching condition that matches those factors, the home is going to sell, especially in the metro Atlanta area, likely with multiple offers quickly. And when it's not in that condition, it will sit on the market. And those are the homes that you're seeing that are taking a little bit longer to sell. And those are the homes that you're seeing have price drops. And no matter what the price point is of the home you're trying to sell, whether it's $800,000 plus, or if it's a $450,000 house, you're going to encounter the exact same market conditions whenever you are out there trying to find a buyer for your house. Or if you're a buyer wanting to buy a house, you're going to have those that are going to make you quickly say, yes, this is a great house. And then you're going to walk into some and you're like, why are they trying to sell it for this? Look at all the work that needs to get done. So that is something to keep in mind. Well, if you're just joining us on the live stream, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group. I'm helping you move to Georgia. And we go live every single Wednesday here, bringing you lots of value, talking about what is happening in the local real estate market and what's happening in North Metro Atlanta, Georgia. So if you are joining us, please let me know where you're watching from in the comments. And if you have any questions, please make sure you ask those. I love answering your questions every single week and kind of giving you some advice on what it's like for a real estate agent with boots on the ground, helping all kinds of people from across the country relocate right here to the Metro Atlanta area. One thing, we had someone reach out today and they were specifically looking for a $300,000 house and or around $300,000. They wanted to be near a specific location. And so whenever I sent over the home search and sent over the inventory that was available, I gave them a couple of extra areas that would give them some more options because I knew that there wasn't going to hardly be anything for sale in that price point in the areas that they were looking. And they kind of reached back out to me and they were like, hey, we don't see anything here in the areas that we're looking. Can you go back and add that? And the reason why you're not seeing anything in those areas is because there's just not anything for sale. And it's not because we don't have sellers right now selling in that price point. It's just that the price point has increased past that. Talked to another great client this week who's thinking about making a move in a couple of years, and they kind of wanted the same advice. And they asked what their criteria was, what their budget is, what they're looking for. And what they're looking for just simply doesn't exist in that price point. But that is the great reason of why you should reach out to someone, an agent, much earlier and kind of have that conversation, because hopefully I'm able to save them some time and energy and effort and let them know, like, hey, what you want and where you want to be is likely not within what is currently available in the market and what the market conditions are. You're likely going to have to focus on a different part of Georgia or a different state altogether that's going to give you that combination of factors of what you want. And again, it's not just because you can't have anything or that there's not anything available. It's the market has simply moved past that price point. I wish I could find lots of $300,000 houses, or heck, I have lots of clients I could help find houses under 300,000. And yet it's just so hard without going to further north areas around the metro Atlanta area. Citizen PM asked, how is the public transportation system in Gainesville? We do have something, because I see it around, and I need to do some more research on this, but I think it's very similar to the micro transit system that they have in Gwinnett County, where you can call up an app and schedule a ride. I know there's some pickup points around Gainesville, but I do think it's based on kind of like an app service. So there is something, but and it'll get you to some places. It's just not very robust. So it's definitely not something I would count on if I was moving here to be able to rely on. If you like had to get to a job at a certain time every single day, that sort of thing. But maybe for the occasional doctor's office visit or something like that, if you had someone that was homebound that did not have access to a vehicle, something like that would maybe suffice. I don't know. It's a good question, and I'll have to do more research and be more prepared to give you an answer on that. But it's not very robust, obviously, or else I would know more since I live here and see it. But occasionally I do see that bus around town. Great question. So if you're joining us, thank you for joining us. If you have questions, please let me know. We go live here every single Wednesday, and then each week on the channel is a scripted or is a video that comes out every single Sunday, giving you information, a recorded video that we do, giving you information on the different towns and things that you should know if you're thinking about moving to the metro Atlanta area, because our goal is to help you make that move, and we want to be your partner. So if you're thinking about making a move, make sure you reach out to me. My contact information is directly below this video. And it's so much fun getting calls from y'all and getting an opportunity to help you. We've got several clients coming in town this weekend that we're going to be able to help hopefully find their dream home here in Georgia and get them under contract. So one of the things I'm seeing right now is that if you are thinking about making a move, your best opportunity is in new construction. If you're looking for a deal, if you're looking for a seller to help with closing costs, if you're looking for a rate buy down, your opportunity is in new construction. These new construction builders, they have the capital and they have the profits and the creativity to kind of offer these incentives for you, and they want to move this inventory. So it all depends on where you're looking. So we've got a lot of new construction happening and coming, and that area, there's some incentives there, but they're not very aggressive because there's a lot of demand for that area. And then we have other areas like Gainesville and Flowery Branch, Brazelton, a lot happening out in Monroe and other parts of Gwinnett County, where you've got some great development happening there, and some builders are really offering you some really good things. So we're helping a client right now, and we are negotiating $20,000 in seller pay closing costs that we can use however we want, whether that's reduce the price of the house or whether that is doing rate buy downs or getting closing costs covered. And this is something that you should know. So this is a client that reached out to me after working with a previous agent and maybe kind of feeling like they weren't getting the best advice. And I would really strongly encourage you, whether you're buying here or anywhere else in the country, and if you're thinking about negotiating on a price, you are much better off right now in today's market negotiating for seller pay closing cost and using that closing cost to do a rate buy down. That's going to save you more money on your monthly payment than it would be to just reduce the price of the house. So for example, $500,000 house, let's just say that you feel like you can negotiate $10,000 off that price. Well, if the price is reduced to $490, or if you pay $500 for the house and the seller gives $10,000 in closing costs, the seller is still netting $490. At the end of the day, the seller does not care how you're getting to that $490 number. They just care what they net. So if they're willing to negotiate $10,000 off the price of the house, they should be willing to negotiate. They're a fool if they don't. Also, just negotiate that $10,000 and seller paid closing costs, because the net is the same to them. But the impact for you as a buyer is that using that $10,000 to permanently buy down the interest rate by buying discount points is going to save you significant much more money every single month on your monthly payment, because you're pulling a bigger lever, right? You're pulling that interest rate down, whereas on that $500,000 house, you're only moving the needle just a tiny bit on the price, which is what the loan is based off of. Whereas that interest rate, you're making kind of like even though it feels smaller, you're making a substantial bump down, which has a direct impact for you every single month. So that is something to consider. Carl said most new construction lots are too small. Yes, that is definitely going to be a trade-off of new construction homes, is that you are likely going to be facing a much smaller lot. And so lot size is important to you, and you're open to a location, you need to look in Monroe. So there's a lot of fantastic new construction communities and homes where you can get a half acre to an acre to 2 acres of land on a new construction home for under $500,000. And you can't get that anywhere in kind of like the North Metro Atlanta area without paying substantially for that. So there are some great opportunities out there. We just helped a great client get into a fantastic home in Monroe. It was probably one of the best builders that I've seen in a long time. Seriously impressed with the quality of home that they built. And the upgrades that she got for the money that she paid. It was a fantastic build. And so that was definitely something that I was impressed with. You see good builders, but when you see so many homes day in and day out, especially new construction homes, you can really start to tell when some builders are just better than others. Our viewer here says, crime rate is always my concern. And as it should be, right? So we would definitely want to take into, crime into consideration. There's great website resources that you can look into further into a county to kind of figure out what their crime rates are. And I have to say, here locally, I don't have any clients that are calling me up saying, hey, I want to sell my house and move out of here because crime is getting bad. That is not happening in the Metro Atlanta area. So all of these towns that we talk about, all of these neighborhoods that we talk about, all of these builders, that's a great sign to kind of look for. If a builder is building in an area, think about it. They're not going to pump in tens of millions of dollars in infrastructure in building new construction neighborhoods to sell this inventory in areas where they can't sell them because the reputation is such that crime is bad in the neighborhood. So keep that in mind. That's just kind of like something to look for. Also, look for towns where there's a lot of growth and development happening, where there's putting in new grocery stores, Publix and Kroger, and Starbucks is building, and Chick-fil-A is putting in a new location. Those are all areas. They're looking at those same demographics that you are, and they're making those business decisions based on that information as well. So if stores are developing in these towns, likely that crime rate has really been vetted out. And so we do help a lot of clients, and I have to say that clients locally and that are relocating, there's never been an area that we've helped anyone in that you would not feel very safe. In fact, I have a funny story. I was helping a cop. They bought a home here 2 years ago, and we were showing houses, and we were walking through the house, and we wanted to go onto the back deck to see the backyard. And so I just opened the door, and he noticed, because he's a cop and he's got good skills like that, he noticed that the door was unlocked. And he was like, people just leave their doors unlocked? And yeah, a lot of people do. So I'm not saying that's exactly best practice, but it's not something that you have to be like hyper vigilant about, that maybe you might have to in other areas. There is new construction in Marietta. You're definitely going to pay more of a premium in that area, and you are definitely going to see more smaller lots. And the reason is Marietta is a very well-established city, much like Alpharetta and Roswell, and it has been around for a long time. Therefore, it's pretty developed. So what little land they have left to carve out and put homes on, it's going to be small. So if you're looking for more land, if you're kind of interested in Marietta, then I would also kind of consider Canton. That's an area where you can get more house for your money comparatively to Marietta. It's still going to be expensive-ish on that side. There's also a town in between Canton and Cumming called Ball Ground. We often kind of forget about it because it's just there, and but it is growing, and that is also a good area as well. That was Minnie joining us. Thank you for asking that great question. So that was definitely very good. Trying to think of some other common questions or concerns that we get from clients. One thing I think that's important to talk about is school ratings. So oftentimes we will help clients that are very stuck on a specific school rating. And as a former teacher here in the school systems here, I have to say that I would really get into like some local Facebook groups and really talk to parents or talk to the school, because a school can have a rating of a 6 and still be an excellent, fantastic school that is very locally sought after and has a good reputation. And sometimes I have clients that just get caught up on only sending their kids to an 8 or 9 ranked school, when you're probably seriously doing yourself a disservice by not considering any of those other areas that are also very well sought after and have a great reputation here in town. So there's a lot of great Facebook groups that you can join. Usually it's like moms of whatever town. You can kind of search for that and you can find some good groups in there. And there's lots of people in there all the time that say, hey, I'm thinking about making a move here. What's your thoughts? Now, always kind of take it with a little bit of grain of salt, right? Because you get like, well, my kid had a terrible experience there, and then you have like 10 families that say, oh, my kid had a great experience there. So it's all relative. Okay, well, if you have any questions about the housing market or making a move, let me know in the comments. I have one more story to share with you about a new business or manufacturing that is opening up in Gainesville, and it's adding some jobs to the Gainesville area. And I had never heard of this company before. And you watching, y'all might have heard of this company, and you can teach me something. So that's a big old ad right in the middle. Well, that's annoying. Okay, it says, I don't know how to pronounce this. Tous les jours Cafe. Y'all are going to make fun of me for that. That it's a plant that is set to create 285 jobs in Gainesville. And it says a town traditionally known for chicken processing. So Gainesville is the chicken capital of the world. In the north part of Gainesville, there's a lot of chicken farms, and we do have a lot of chicken processing companies where they process the chickens. But it says CJ Foodville Corp., a subsidiary of a South Korea-based group, is planning a $47 million bakery and food processing facility. Our governor announced that, and it produces baked goods for Tous les Jours brand, and it has 4 outposts in Metro Atlanta. I think there's also some other locations across the United States, but I thought it was very interesting. I've never heard of this restaurant. It makes me want to go see it because it's started as a family-owned Korean restaurant in 1994, and it has 8 restaurants and franchise brands. The Tous les Jours brand has more than 1,650 stores worldwide. And in the past few years, the bakery and coffee shop has been pushing a major expansion in the U.S. Have y'all ever heard of this? I really want to see what this is, because they're bringing some great jobs here to the Gainesville market, which is going to be really good. Let's see here. Oh, Minnie knows. It's a Korean bakery. I am Tous les jours. You can read like that. Tuljuro. Did I do that right? Tuljuro. Maybe. Okay, and Minnie is happy to hear that. Is it good, Minnie? I mean, I guess it's got to be, right? And I don't know that I've ever had a Korean baked good. I need to go seek that out. There's a lot of great Korean restaurants in Duluth. So I need to take a field trip and go down there and try some really good Korean. Let's see. Minnie also says, everyone also talks about market is going to crash next year. Should I wait to buy? Just put my house on the market. No, you should not wait to buy. The housing market is not going to crash. In fact, if you go back last week's live stream, I shared some data on how all the economists who last year said that the market was going to crash or slow down, they've revised their outlooks for next year. And they've showed that that's still the market's going to increase, or the pace of increase is going to slow down a little bit, but they're calling for an increase. And here's what's expected to happen. I also shared that interest rates are expected to come down as well. And the thing is that we still have a lot of buyers right now that want to buy a home, and there's not simply enough homes for sale. So that is why we have all of these buyers and just a few little houses for sale. And that's why home prices have not come down. Well, when interest rates come down, there's going to be a lot more buyers saying, oh, okay, great. Now's the best time to go out and buy. And there might be a little bit more houses that pop on the market, but there's still not going to be enough for all the demand that we have right now. I also shared last week that we have 50% less homes for sale right now than we do in a normal market. That's how off the supply and demand is. So because of that reason, Minnie, that's why the market's not going to crash. Also, people that own their homes, more than 50% of them have incredible amounts of equity. I think over 50% of homes right now in the US are owned outright. So, that's another reason why we're not going to have a market crash. Xavier asked, which region in Georgia has the least amount of bugs, pests, and would you avoiding bugs? Okay. I'm not the best person to ask this question to. I grew up in Georgia. I've lived in South Georgia. I've lived on the coast of Georgia and here in North Georgia. Okay. Maybe I can answer this question. North Georgia is by far the best from where I've lived. South Georgia, tons of mosquitoes and gnats, right? So they're like anything kind of like north of a little bit above Macon is what we call the gnat line. Anything south of that is like where gnats can survive. And gnats are terrible. They're so annoying. And you also have love bugs from Florida that you have to deal with. On the coast of Georgia, you had biting sand gnats or sand fleas. Those were terrible to deal with because when it felt good outside, these like little no-see-em bugs would bite you and it would hurt. You also had really bad mosquitoes there as well. So those were the bug differences. A lot of scorpions in South Georgia, like little scorpions. They don't do anything. They never bit me, but more of those. Here in North Georgia, not as many mosquitoes. We still have mosquitoes. We still have all the other bugs. I have some of my clients from out of state talk about the bugs, and they say that they're bigger here than what they thought they were going to be. So I've never lived in another state, so I can't really compare that to other states. We have fireflies here in North Georgia, and you don't have those in South Georgia. And when I was a little girl, I used to visit my grandmother that lived in Marietta, and it was such a novelty for me to see lightning bugs. And now here you get to see them all the time, and they come out in the summer, and they're so pretty. So I think that's a plus for the North Georgia area. Let's see here. Citizen PM, what type of businesses are turning up in Gainesville recently? There's a lot of healthcare jobs in Gainesville. There's a lot of manufacturing positions. We have a lot of restaurants and entertainment industry things opening up here in Gainesville. And I guess there's a lot of logistics manufacturing jobs that come along. I guess logistics comes along with the manufacturing, but you see a lot of logistics buildings popping up to store and warehouse all of these goods and things that people are shipping. So I think Gainesville, y'all, have over the past year and a half, it's become a really, really hip, cool town that you should definitely consider if you hadn't considered it before. Because everyone that has recently come to Gainesville that kind of lives near the area, they come here to eat or check out the square, and their takeaway is like, wow, when did Gainesville, grow up and become this like really cool city? So that is something. Andres asked, have you seen many Floridians moving to the North Georgia area? Yes. So the two states that we help the people the most in are Florida and California. And I think that's kind of surprising because Florida is also a popular destination for people who are moving there. And the thing that I've learned is that almost all the clients that we help out of Florida, they're tired of the hurricanes, and they're tired of the insurance, and they're tired of the heat. And they're like, what good is having, yes, we have warm weather, but sometimes it's like way too hot for a lot of the year and it's miserable to be outside. And then you have to deal with the hurricanes and then the increase in cost and the rising, insurance debacle. And then now you have insurance companies that aren't even covering houses anymore in Florida. And they're just saying, hey, sorry, we're getting out of this state and we're no longer issuing insurance policies in Florida. So that is, we help a ton of clients from Florida. So if you're in Florida, you're thinking about making a move, Minnie, you got your house on the market, I want to help you move. Give me a call and we'll make sure that we can connect you with, help you find the really perfect house. You're tired of the insurance company. Minnie's in Florida. So, all right. So if you are thinking about making a move, make sure you contact me. My information is directly below this video. Thank you so much for spending time with us or me tonight here on the live stream. I'll catch you here next Wednesday on the live stream answering your questions. And check out our video this coming week. You're going to love it. And I can't wait to see you here next week to continue on the great conversation and tell you more about what's happening in the real estate market and here in North Georgia. See you next week.